Hello everyone, I'm Jacob, the Community Manager with Paradox Studio Black, and today we're here to cover some questions that have been submitted to us by the community since the announcement of Chapter 4.
Hello, my name is Dan Brughoff. I'm a developer on the Crusader Kings III team, and today I'll be answering some questions from the internet.
Alright, greetings and hello. I am Filippa, or more known as the Stamtasik on the forums. I am one of the developers on Crusader Kings III.
First question, I guess, just go get into it. Xi Sheng from Bilibili asks, I hope Paradox can verify Chinese place names clearly so that place names from later times do not appear in ancient times. We try to be as accurate historically as we can, but we also have to make sure that the game is proper for the entire duration of our game. So we have some things that we put together in different names, and sometimes we select a name that is from a specific time period. But we try to be as accurate as we can historically.
A question from Discord and Mrs. Ace. With all of Asia being promised in All Under Heaven and the announcement mentioning Indonesia, is this all of modern-day Indonesia, including the island of New Guinea, or does the map cut off more to the west? So we will have almost all of modern Indonesia. We will have some of the counties on the New Guinea, but not all of what is part of Indonesia today.
Next question is from Saint Pepsi on Discord. Will we be given some detailed map review sessions or for commentary/changes? We do plan to have some early dev diaries around this, no promises. We would like to get some input, but this is yet to be planned.
All right, next question. From the PDX forum, Kule Attack. Will the map expansion also include a larger portion of Africa to play in? Yes it will. We will have the Horn of Africa on the east side also playable, and we will have the major ports there as an interesting flavor for the area.
Next question is from Obamium from Discord. Will Cancel the Step be updated once All Under Heaven releases to allow for better interactions? Answer is yes. We'll have to, of course, expand the step with the new map. And, of course, we'll have to rebalance Genghis a little bit to make sure that it interacts correctly with China and the rest of the East Asia map. S. Spellweaver from Paradox Forum asks, will there be harem mechanics? Well, we do know that there are quite significant and large harems in East Asia, but we're not focusing as much with this expansion on harems.
The first question for me comes from Discord from Lair290. Will the pet horse system be expanded in Cons of the Steppe? No, we're not expanding upon the horse system in that regard, but we do have a new eagle pet.
On Discord, IDK asks, what will be the government type of the Japanese shogunate? That's an interesting question. In the earlier start dates, there will be more like the Chinese celestial government, an administrative style government. And at the very end of our time period, or not the end of time period, our last start date, Japan is about to become its first shogunate. The shogunate is more like a feudal style government. So essentially, the shogunate will be a feudal style with Japanese characteristics.
Next question. From Discord and Lysfisk. Are the great projects mentioned on the Steam page akin to the great works on CK2? The great projects in All Under Heaven will be more of a communal thing. It will be tied to the natural disasters, but it will also be tied to the China hegemony, where you get to... So it's more of a communal thing. You get to help the emperor and prove that you're a good and proper governor and vassal. And for the Mandala, you also can go in and help your Devaraja by assisting in the building of the capital temple, that kind of thing. And you can even expand and improve on the Great Wall of China. Improve your worth.
Next question from YouTube. XXX-NEO-XXX-7734 asks, will commanders and low nobility characters in China be allowed to take an Imperial exam to obtain power? Yes, they will. Specifically, low nobility characters will, like your children, for example, you'll be able to send them to low-level exams as well as the central exams to prepare them for their bureaucratic career, if you will. Other commoners will be spawned into these exams to demonstrate that, yes, you could rise the ranks to a bureaucrat.
Our next question comes from the PDX forum, submitted by IIXBatmanXII, a wonderful name. Will the Mongols be balanced on release with China in mind, or will they be rebalanced when the lands to their east are added? Right now, the nomadic governments in Cons of the Steppe are balanced in isolation because we do not have the final numbers for the lands to the east of them yet. However, they will be rebalanced as All Under Heaven progresses further in development.
The next question is from Avo awu.o or awu some sort from PDX forums. Will we see dynamic names of Eastern Asia realms? Or suggest China, Korea, etc.? Well, China specifically can rename itself according to its dynasties. So China will be called differently, like the Tang or the Song, depending on which dynasty is in charge. And if you decide to become a new dynasty in China, you will be able to select what name will be on the map as well. And also which of the 5 elements of the Wujing color wheel you can pick as a map name.
Cool. All right, next question. So we have one from PDX forums and video games. Is there an option to also push for the proper implementation of the Ritsurio system and end up achieving a Chinese-style government in Japan? So we will have a mix of sort of admin and feudal going on in Japan, and you can support the status quo by pushing for the admin part of it, while you will not be able to become a full celestial government type.
Next question from Discord. Big Cat Mean asks, will the Tang Empire play differently from the Song? Yes, they will. We are going to have the dynastic cycle in the game, which is a mechanic where China can have different types of eras that they are in. And Tang will be in an expansionist era, whereas the Song will be in an advancement era. And these different eras will give different types of benefits and drawbacks. So they will play differently, but in the end they're still going to be China in various different ways.
Another question from the PDX forum submitted by Trepanator, who asks, still no republics, really? We have a few things that we wanted to do before republics, primarily implementing China, the rest of the Spice Islands, and the Silk Road itself, because we felt that we can't properly represent or simulate republics within our game without having these important landmark pieces of content in place first.
From PDX forum, Fleeting Rain. How far into Southeast Asia are we going? We will cover all of mainland Southeast Asia and also all of the islands except for Papua.
Agami from Discord asks, any changes to warfare in this chapter? No big changes, but for example, China will fight and feel differently when waging war, as well as some of the other governments in East Asia. So I would say that there are differences in warfare, but the very low-level warfare, we're not going to change that much.
Our next question comes from Reddit, submitted by Mr. Lame Jokes. Will the restored Roman Empire be a hegemony? We're still shaking out the specific details of what hegemonies outside of China will look like, but the restored Roman Empire is a prime target for a hegemony in Europe.
Another question on the Paradox Forum. Ray 243. Will it be possible to add central treasury to admin empires like the Byzantine Empire or the Arab clan government? We're looking if we want to add the treasury mechanic to some other empires or other government types, maybe at higher tiers of their realm law.
Next question from Steam and Adonis. Will there be Australia in the map too? No.
The next question is from ProNike2000 from Discord. Since we'll get nomads and China in the same chapter, will nomads be able to form Great Yuan? Yes, they will. If the area of China gets conquered by someone, they can establish what we call a conquested dynasty. Yuan did this historically, or rather the Mongols who then became Great Yuan. This will mean that they will participate in the dynastic cycle, and they can try to reform themselves as well and become more like the dynasties that came before them.
From our QQ Guild and Wu Ming Shi. Will there be an imperial examination system? Will there be a distinction between central bureaucrats and local governors? There will be an imperial examination activity where you can do your metropolitan examination, and if you're good enough, you get to do the examination in front of the emperor. We also will have 2 more local examinations in the children's examination, which you just take while you're adolescent. And we will also have a provincial exam for those who want to study up and become more prepared for the imperial examinations. So there's plenty of flavor to go around, plenty of stress to be had, and studying to be done. And, eventually becoming more meritorious and grabbing a neat position somewhere in the political realm.
Our next question comes from the PDX forum, submitted by Kendler Max von Baden, who asks, will there be a church update alongside coronations? And the answer to that is no. We are not doing a significant religious rework in coronations. We are focusing primarily on the coronations activity itself, and if there are opportunities to enhance the coronations activity by deepening ties with specific church content, we may do that, but coronations is being kept strictly limited to the scope of coronations themselves.
All right, another question from QQ Guild is Fai Tian Ma Ling Shu. The disaster mentioned in the Steam description is not referring to the PDX Classic Yellow River bursting its banks or a major earthquake, which is a unique Chinese deconstruction or destruction mechanisms that will reduce the development of half of China to zero, right? No. Disasters like the Yellow River bursting its bank did not destroy the world every day. Now, that we are very well aware of this. Let me talk a little bit about natural disasters in general. Natural disasters are going to occur all over the world, with some areas being affected more and some less. We're also aiming for natural disasters to not be destructive as a gameplay mechanic. We'd rather have them be a challenge that you can overcome with a great project, for example, and also a mechanic where you can improve the area that you are that this has happened in, so you can come out stronger afterwards. We also want you to be able to a certain degree, balance out this threat by building things like irrigation channels and other types of things like dikes that could prevent some of the damage or effects of a flood, for example. But we're not intending for this feature to be super destructive. This feature is going to be something that happens to you, yes, but you can ask other people to help you out with this. It's supposed to be a point to get people together and to prevent the misery of the people in the place where it happened. Not about knocking you down as a player.
Next question from Discord and Soundstack. Will India also be getting the Mandala government type? Not entirely, some parts of India might. So let me explain a bit about the Mandala. You will have quite a low base domain limit. You will instead be grabbing tributaries and then start swearing them to you and becoming more of growing your power base by being more pious, becoming more of a god king, and get more influential, if you will, by having your reputation spread around, and more people will start swearing themselves to you. Eventually you will turn them into vassals, and while you're amassing all of your riches, you will also build capital temples and maybe become even more powerful. Who knows?
Mr. Penguin 8922 from YouTube. Will there be an update to the CK3 system requirements? We're looking into the system requirements as we have them defined. We're probably going to increase them a little bit because we haven't increased them in quite a bit of time, and we are, of course, making the game quite a bit bigger. We're still testing and seeing what our current point would be, but you'll see it evolve on the Steam page if you want to be up to date with that.
Our next question comes from Steam, submitted by Night Hunter 023. When are we going to get the Vagabonds and Relationships DLC from the next DLC polls event? We don't have specific plans to implement them in the near future. We are not opposed to it, but a lot of the content from those that was created as part of their initial pitches has been implemented elsewhere. We're not ruling them out completely, but they are not in the pipeline at this moment.
Another question from the forums. Fodas D. What distinguishes merit from prestige or influence? Also a good question. Merit is more a performative value. You can consider it your rank in the bureaucracy. Have you taken exams? Good, your merit goes up. Have you been governing a circuit for longer? Good, your merit goes up. So it's more about what rank of the bureaucracy are you at than a resource that you're spending, such as influence. Influence is something that you can gain and spend, whereas merit in general you will accumulate, and with some of your decisions you will also get some merit as well. In general, you can lose merit as well, but it will not be as major. You'll never be actively spending your merit.
Our next question comes from YouTube, submitted by the Mentor of Momos. Will players be able to devastate provinces and strip them of all holdings like in Crusader Kings II? The answer to which? Yes.
Larry290 from Discord asks, will the mentioned disasters be region-specific like seasons are in the steppe, or will we be able to get disasters in Europe and Africa too? Yes, natural disasters will be all around the world, but they'll be contained to areas where we know they will occur. For example, floodplains or areas that are more at risk for earthquakes.
From the Paradox forums, Foefaller, are there any reworks/updates to existing systems planned alongside the DLC that you can talk about? We have some nice stuff going in for innovations actually, so keep an eye and ear out for that.
KR from the Paradox Forums asks, will the Mongol Empire be a hegemony too? Yes, they will be. We will be adding the hegemony title to some of the formable empires, or formerly empires, I guess, that can exist in our game. On all of our game starts, there will be only China as a hegemony.
Right. Next question. From the Paradox Forums, what about the use and development of gunpowder in this period? Fortunately, we have one developer on the team very interested in this area, so we will be handling it via innovations, and there should be some flavor for this.
Our next question comes from the PDX forum submitted by Lord Tomaz. Are there plans to improve Turkic tribes gameplay in Khans of the Steppe? We don't have plans for any Turkic-specific content in Khans of the Steppe, but we are not rolling out bespoke Turkic content in the future. We're not opposed to it, but we are not doing it right now.
From our QQ Guild, we have a question by Qin Wang Sao Liu He. Was Liao and Jin empires nomadic or with a Chinese hegemony? If the Chinese hegemony with their title history, will they be at the Northern Dynasty? So I think the question's about will the Liao and the Jin empires be considered part of a dynastic hegemony title of China? With our current mechanics, we always have one main hegemonic title of China. So if there's two of them around, there will be only one true current holder of the Chinese hegemony. But should China fall apart, as it did during the 10 Kingdoms, 5 Dynasties period, then the hegemonic title will no longer be around, and everyone will have their own titles to go around with. And whoever comes on top out of that struggle will become the next dynasty. And for example, if the Liao would be that, they could then name the next hegemonic title as well.
Next question from our QQ Guild and Lawrence. Is there any problem with the paper map, like missing part of the Yellow River and missing the whole Yangtze River? We will have the rivers on the paper map. We will have to pick one of the configurations because unfortunately our engine does not support changing the river mid-game.
Our next question is from Steam, submitted by Friendly Player 100,000, who asks, can't you make the game hard? Yes, we can make the game hard, but the difficulty comes in making the game hard while still being fun to play. We understand that some players have put hundreds or even thousands of hours into the game and have essentially exhausted the strategic depth that the current combat system offers, and at that point, all I can say is that you've beaten the game, you have solved it.
Ingvar BS from the Paradox Forums. Will Vietnam and other Sinic adjacent people, Tangut, Khitan, Jurchen, have the celestial government or same government as Korea? All of these realms will have a form of administrative that is inspired by what China is doing, but they'll have their own flavors.
Right, next question from our QQ Guild and Kafiu. I'm sorry for butchering the name. What will happen to the capitals of counties in East Asia? They won't all be castles, right? And no, some of them might actually have temples. Stay tuned.
Another question from our QQ Guild from Yan Ying Ching, I think. In the design of the future treasury, what are the sources of income for the treasury and what are the expenditure items? So the treasury is a new mechanic that represents the centralized nature of the Chinese state. That means that more money flows upwards towards the emperor. These are the taxes. At the level of the emperor, these taxes get converted into the treasury. The treasury represents money that's earmarked to be spent only for government purposes. So, for example, building buildings and things like that. This money will then be sent downwards back to the vassals of the emperor, and they will get a budget, if you will, based on how many taxes they have paid towards the emperor.
Thank you all for watching today. You all submitted some very interesting questions, and while we can't answer them all, we hope this cleared up some of the confusion that you've had since the reveal of Chapter 4's content. We will continue to take questions for future Q&A sessions, although we can't commit to a specific date at this time.
Thanks for listening to our Q&A. I hope we answered some interesting questions.
Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned on all of our social media, which will show up here somewhere, I'm sure.
Feel free to submit your questions here in the comments of the video or on any of our social media platforms such as our forums, Discord, QQ Guild, or others.